Emily Carter sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the edges of the Columbia University application, the words blurring as she blinked away the fatigue of another late-night study session. Her mother, Linda, poured coffee into mismatched mugs, her eyes lingering on Emily with a mix of pride and worry. "You're going to do great, honey. You always do," Linda said, her voice gentle but edged with the exhaustion of double shifts at the diner. Emily forced a smile, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "I hope so, Mum. This scholarship, it's everything. It's not just for me. It's for us." The apartment was small, the walls thin enough to let in the sounds of neighbours, arguing or laughing, but Emily had learned to drown it all out with her dreams. She glanced at the faded family photo taped to the fridge. Her, Linda, and her younger brother Tyler, all beaming despite the second-hand clothes and the chipped furniture. She wanted more for them, for herself, a future where she could give back, where she could belong. As the day of the scholarship announcement arrived, Emily's heart pounded with hope. She walked into the auditorium at her high school, her backpack heavy with textbooks and ambition. The scholarship committee sat at a long table, their expressions unreadable. She recognized Dr. Evans, the chair, a man who rarely smiled, and Madison Green, the daughter of a local business magnate, sitting confidently among the other finalists. Names were called, applause echoing for each winner. Emily's hands trembled as the list grew shorter. Finally, her name was the only one left. Dr. Evans cleared his throat, his gaze cool. "Emily Carter, your academic record is impressive. However, the committee feels you do not fully represent the values and prestige of Columbia University. We regret to inform you that you have not been selected." A hush fell over the room. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She forced herself to stand, her cheeks burning as she heard the whispers. "She's just not the right fit. Not our kind." She clutched her backpack, her dreams feeling suddenly fragile and small. Outside, Linda waited, hope flickering in her tired eyes. Emily shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. "They said I wasn't worthy." Linda pulled her into a hug, holding her tight. "You are more than worthy, Emily. Don't let them decide your future." That night, Emily stared out her bedroom window, the city lights shimmering in the distance. The ache of disappointment pressed down on her, but beneath it, a quiet resolve began to take root. She would not let their judgment define her. She would find another way, for herself and for everyone who had ever been told they weren't enough. And somewhere, in the shadows of her ordinary life, something extraordinary was waiting to be revealed. Emily sat on her bed, the rejection letter from Columbia spread out before her. She traced the university's crest with her finger, remembering the hours spent in the city library, the late nights fueled by black coffee and hope. She closed her eyes and drifted back to her childhood in Cleveland, the sound of her mother's laughter echoing through their tiny apartment, the scent of pancakes on Sunday mornings. Linda Carter had always believed in her daughter, working double shifts at the diner, pinching pennies, and never letting Emily see how hard it really was. "You're going to change the world, Em," Linda would say, pressing a kiss to her forehead before heading out into the cold Ohio dawn. Emily's drive came from watching her mother's sacrifices. She remembered the day her science project won first prize at the state fair. Her mother's tears, the pride in her voice as she called every relative, no matter how distant. Emily had always felt she owed it to Linda to succeed, to prove that their struggle meant something. But now, with the letter in her hands, she felt the weight of expectation and disappointment pressing down on her. Later that evening, Jessica Miller dropped by, her arms full of takeout and her smile unwavering. "They're idiots, Em. You're the smartest person I know. You don't need their approval." Emily tried to smile, but her voice trembled. "It's not just about me, Jess. My mom's given up everything. I just wanted to make her proud." Jessica squeezed her hand. "She already is. And so am I. Don't let them decide your worth." Daniel Brooks, Emily's husband, watched her quietly from the doorway. He was gentle, attentive, always ready with a cup of tea or a reassuring word. But there was a distance in his eyes, a hesitation that Emily couldn't quite name. He worked as an IT consultant, often traveling for projects, and rarely spoke about his own family. One evening, Emily found him staring at an old photograph, a stately mansion, a family she didn't recognize. When she asked, he simply said, "Just people I used to know," and changed the subject. As Emily's frustration grew, Daniel became more protective, urging her to consider other options. "Maybe you could apply somewhere else, or take a year off. There's no shame in that." But Emily shook her head. "I can't just give up. I need to prove to them, and to myself, that I belong." Daniel's jaw tightened. "You don't have to prove anything, Em, not to them." But she heard the worry in his voice, the fear that her disappointment might break something inside her. Across town, Dr. Richard Evans reviewed the scholarship applications with clinical detachment. He prided himself on upholding Columbia's reputation, believing that only those with the right pedigree truly belonged. Madison Green, the daughter of a wealthy real estate developer, watched Emily with a mix of envy and disdain. She saw Emily's earnestness as naivety, her lack of connections as a weakness. Madison's own insecurities, her fear of not living up to her family's expectations, drove her to undermine Emily at every turn, spreading rumors and quietly influencing the committee's decision. Emily's world felt increasingly small, the walls closing in as her dreams slipped further away. Yet, even in her lowest moments, she found strength in her mother's unwavering support, Jessica's friendship, and Daniel's quiet presence. She began to see that worth wasn't measured by acceptance letters or committee decisions, but by the courage to keep going, even when the odds were stacked against her. And while Daniel's secrets lingered in the background, Emily's determination only grew, setting the stage for a revelation that would change everything she thought she knew about herself, her marriage, and what it truly meant to be worthy. Emily sat at the kitchen table, textbooks spread out before her, the pages worn thin from years of use. She tried to focus on her notes, but the words blurred as her phone buzzed with notifications, messages from classmates, news of scholarship winners, and a growing thread on social media, questioning why she'd even bothered applying. She never really fit in, one comment read. Columbia wants the best, not just good grades. Emily's hands shook as she set the phone aside, the sting of rejection sharper with every word. Linda entered, carrying a stack of bills. She paused, watching her daughter's forced composure. "You don't have to prove anything to them, Em." Emily managed a small smile, but her voice was thin. "I do, Mom. I have to prove it to myself." That night, she scoured the internet for alternative scholarships, making lists, filling out forms, and sending emails to faculty at Columbia. She even applied for a job at the local bookstore, determined to save every dollar for tuition. Jessica called, her voice bright but worried. "You're not alone, Emily. If anyone can break through, it's you." Emily tried to believe her, but the world felt colder, the gates of Columbia looming in her mind, iron bars separating her from the life she wanted. She walked past the university one afternoon, running her hand along the cold metal, imagining what it would feel like to belong on the other side. Each day brought new setbacks. The bookstore job went to someone with more experience. Scholarship after scholarship sent polite rejections. Even the faculty at Columbia, sympathetic as they were, had little power to overturn the committee's decision. Emily's battered textbooks became a symbol of her struggle, pages filled with hope and effort, now reminders of doors closed to her. Meanwhile, Daniel's behavior grew more distant. He took late-night calls in the hallway, speaking in hushed tones. He left early for work, returning with expensive gifts, designer shoes, a new laptop, insisting they were bonuses from a big project. Emily eyed the gifts with suspicion. "We can't afford this, Daniel. Are you sure everything's okay?" He brushed her off, forcing a smile. "You deserve something nice. Let me take care of you for once. But the warmth in his eyes was shadowed by something she couldn't name. Their conversations grew tense. Emily's frustration surfaced in sharp words and long silences. "You don't understand what it's like to be shut out," she said one night, her voice cracking. Daniel hesitated, then reached for her hand. "Maybe I understand more than you think." But when she pressed him, he changed the subject, leaving her with more questions than answers. Rumors continued to swirl in the community. At the grocery store, Emily overheard whispers, parents warning their children not to get their hopes up, classmates snickering about her delusions of grandeur. Even Jessica struggled to stay optimistic. "Maybe you should take a break, Em, just for a little while." Emily shook her head, her resolve hardening. "If I stop now, they win. I won't let them decide who I am." The pressure mounted. Linda worried about the bills, Daniel grew more secretive, and Emily's own confidence began to erode. She stared at her reflection, searching for the girl who once believed anything was possible. The world felt impossibly high, the doors locked tight. Yet, even as her hope wavered, a stubborn fire burned inside her. She would not let them define her worth. She would keep fighting, no matter how many times she was told no. One evening, as Emily sat alone with her textbooks, Daniel entered quietly. He watched her for a moment, then spoke softly. "You're stronger than you know, Emily. Don't let anyone take that from you." She looked up, tears in her eyes, unsure if she believed him. But in that moment, something shifted. A sense that the story wasn't over, that something hidden was waiting to change everything. Emily sat alone in the living room, her textbooks untouched, the weight of another rejection letter heavy in her hands. She heard Daniel's voice in the hallway, low and urgent, as he argued with someone over the phone. The words, "I can't keep hiding this," drifted through the crack in the door. Emily's heart raced. She waited until he hung up, then confronted him, her voice trembling. "Daniel, what's going on? You're not telling me something." "I deserve to know." Daniel looked at her, his face pale. He hesitated, then finally spoke. "Emily, I never wanted to lie to you. I thought if you knew, everything would change." She stared at him, confusion and fear swirling inside her. Knew what? Daniel took a deep breath. "My real name is Daniel Brooks. My family owns Brooks Corporation. I'm the heir. I walked away from all of it because I wanted a real life, real love, not someone who wanted me for my money." Emily recoiled, her voice sharp. "You're a billionaire. You let me struggle. Let my mother work herself to the bone while you hid this from me." Daniel's eyes filled with regret. "I never wanted to hurt you. I've been helping behind the scenes, anonymous donations to your school, job offers, even trying to influence the scholarship committee. But I didn't want you to feel like you owed me anything. I wanted you to succeed on your own terms." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. "You should have told me. All this time I thought I was alone. I thought I was failing." Daniel reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "You weren't failing. You're the strongest person I know. I fell in love with you because you never give up, no matter what the world throws at you." As news of Daniel's identity leaked, thanks to a scandal involving Brooks Corporation and a local reporter, the scholarship committee scrambled to contact Emily. Dr. Evans called, his tone suddenly warm and apologetic. "Miss Carter, we'd like to revisit your application. It seems there's been a misunderstanding. We'd be honored to offer you the scholarship." Emily's anger simmered as she listened. "You didn't think I was worthy before. What's changed?" "My last name," Dr. Evans stammered, but Emily cut him off. "I don't want your charity. I wanted your respect." She hung up, her hands shaking. Daniel watched her, his voice soft. "You have a choice, Emily. You can take what they're offering, or you can keep fighting. Either way, I'll support you, but don't let them define you." Emily looked at him, her mind racing. "I need to do this my way. I need to know I earned it, not because of your money, but because of who I am." Daniel nodded. pride and sorrow mingling in his eyes. Then I'll stand by you, whatever you decide. The revelation left Emily raw, her world upended. But for the first time, she saw the truth behind the masks, Daniel's, the committee's, and even her own. The cost of acceptance was clear, but so was the value of her integrity. As the city lights flickered outside, Emily realized her journey wasn't about doors opening because of privilege. It was about breaking through, no matter how high the walls. Emily sat at the kitchen table, the university's new letter unopened in front of her. Linda hovered nearby, pride and worry mingling in her eyes. They're offering you the scholarship now, Em, after everything. Emily shook her head, her voice quiet. It's not about the money anymore, Mom. They only care because of Daniel, not because of me. Linda reached for her hand. You've always been enough. Don't let them take that from you. Daniel entered, his expression gentle but uncertain. I'm sorry, Emily. I never wanted to complicate things for you. I thought keeping my past separate would protect us, but I see now it only made things harder. Emily looked at him, searching his face for the truth. I need to know you trust me. I need to know we're partners, not just people hiding things from each other. Daniel nodded. No more secrets. I want us to build something real, together. Later, Emily walked through her old neighborhood, the familiar sidewalks grounding her. She stopped in front of her high school, memories flooding back, late nights studying, teachers who believed in her, classmates who doubted her. She realized she'd always been fighting for a place at the table, but now she wanted to bring others with her. News of the scholarship spread quickly. Some neighbors congratulated her, others whispered about her luck and Daniel's wealth. Jessica hugged her tightly. You did this, Emily. No one can take that away. Emily smiled, but her heart was heavy with the knowledge that the world would always see her differently now. That evening, she sat with Daniel, the city lights flickering outside. I want to accept the scholarship, but I need to do it on my terms. I want to speak out. I want them to know who I am and what I stand for. Daniel squeezed her hand. Then I'll be right there with you. Whatever you decide, I believe in you. Emily felt the weight of her journey, every rejection, every moment of doubt, but also a new strength. She knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face it, not as someone defined by others, but as herself. The decision was hers now, and for the first time, that was enough. Emily stood before the crowded auditorium at Columbia, her acceptance letter in one hand, and her speech in the other. She took a steadying breath, her voice clear and unwavering as she addressed the faculty, students, and scholarship committee. Thank you for this opportunity, but before I accept, I need to say something not just for myself, but for every student who's been told they don't belong because of where they come from or what their family can't give them. I stand here not because of a last name or a bank account, but because I refuse to give up. I hope that, moving forward, this institution will see the value in resilience, in character, and in the determination to rise above circumstance. Merit is not measured by privilege. The room was silent, the weight of her words settling over the audience. Dr. Evans met her gaze, a hint of respect breaking through his usual reserve. Emily continued, I accept this scholarship, but I do so on my terms. I will use this platform to advocate for others like me, to challenge the barriers that keep deserving students out. Let this be the start of a change, not just for me, but for everyone who dreams of more. After the ceremony, Daniel found her outside the university gates. He smiled, pride shining in his eyes. You were incredible, Emily. I want to help, too. I've already started talking to my family about funding new scholarships. Real ones based on merit, not connections. Emily squeezed his hand. We'll do it together. No more secrets. Just honesty and a chance to make a difference. As they walked through the gates side by side, Emily felt the weight of the past lift. She was no longer the outsider, no longer defined by what she lacked. Her journey had transformed her, and now she was ready to help others find their own path. The campus stretched out before her, full of possibility. For the first time, she felt truly worthy. Not because of anyone's approval, but because she had claimed her place with courage and integrity. Her story was just beginning, and she knew she would never walk alone again.